So Joe Biden had a good night in South Carolina. Could not have gone better for Joe. And that's not an endorsement. So I'm going to break down the results of South Carolina. I have exit polling data. I have the actual vote results. They didn't take all goddamn night. And the next day after, like these other caucuses did. So I have the results. I wanted to wait until I got the full results. And I'm going to break down how each candidate has responded thus far. I will get to every candidate. It's going to take me a while to get to Elizabeth Warren because she placed pretty low, so stick around for that. I can't fit all this in 2 minutes either, so you're going to have to catch the rest on my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. So let's start off with the overall results, champ. 48.4% for Joe Biden. That is an overwhelmingly large amount to get. I mean, he blew everybody else out the water by a mile. And people said that Representative Jim Clyburn's endorsement was very critical in that, was a very important part of that. So kudos to Joe. Then you have way down, almost 30 points down, chair, Bernie Sanders, 19.9%. By the way, this 48.4%, 255,000 votes, puts Joe Biden as the popular vote winner at this point of all the contests combined. You know the Bernie Sanders camp loves to talk about the vote, the popular vote. Then you have Tom Steyer down at 11.3%. He dropped out tonight. That was appropriate. That was very appropriate. Some people need to drop out too, but they haven't gotten the memo yet. Then you have Pete Buttigieg at 8.2%. Pete Buttigieg is in fourth, ahead of Elizabeth Warren. Again. Not a great showing for him, but better than Elizabeth Warren at 7.1% share. Woo, 37,285 votes. I'll circle back around to that. Then you have Amy Klobuchar, 3.1%, 16,000 votes. Girl. So, yeah. Tulsi Gabbard, 1.3%. A couple other people who have dropped out got a couple of votes too. So that's the overall picture for South Carolina. Oh my gosh. That, again, is a very, very decisive, very, very, very overwhelming victory for Joe Biden. And he definitely needed that victory. He absolutely needed it. If the polling that had it as a close race was anywhere close to what the results were, that would have been a very bad night for Joe Biden. But he got a good night. Everybody has to admit that unequivocally. Now, I've seen the spin, like I told y'all would happen. Let's talk about one person. You have Bill de Blasio, Mayor Bill de Blasio. He was sitting up there talking about, well, an important distinction is that Bernie Sanders won the white working class vote in South Carolina. And so, you know, those are the voters that we need to return. Really, bitch? The voters that you need are the motherfucking white Trump voters? Not the base of the party? You don't need record turnout. Apparently there was record turnout, or I should say it beat the turnout in 2008. I think that's significant, but apparently not to Bill de Blasio. Interesting. Then you had other people that were, you know, the Bernie people, and they rated for him. So, oh my God, they was dragging the fuck out of black voters. And then you wonder why you can't successfully make the case to black voters when you have so much contempt for them. Isn't it funny how that works out? But let's talk about these exit polls. Since everybody wants to parse the data share, let's start off with what a lot of people feel is the most important voting demographic. White people. That ain't my words. That's what y'all seem to think. Because y'all always want to sit up here and talk about, well, the white voters when it comes to these black states. But guess what? The white voters didn't bail your motherfucking candidate out either, okay? Because Joe Biden was first with white voters that y'all care so much about, 33%. 10 points behind him, Bernie Sanders, 23%. Tom Steyer got 10% of the white vote. Pete Buttigieg actually placed third with the white voters, 16%. That is 7 points higher, almost double what Elizabeth Warren got. She got 9% of the white vote. 9% of the white vote. So damn, Elizabeth Warren, isn't that about how much you did in Nevada and New Hampshire? You ain't having a good run with these white voters, child. Then you have Amy Klobuchar, who did 7% of white voters. Now let's go to the blacks. Black folks came through for Uncle Joe. We know Joe. They had Vivica Fox down there. They had everybody down there. But you know what really made the difference? Like I said earlier, was Representative Jim Clyburn. His organization got involved. He got involved. And that is the endorsement and the energy that Joe Biden needed. He got 61% of the black vote. Bernie Sanders, second place, 17% of the black vote. Tom Steyer, he got 13%. Tom Steyer put a lot of effort in the black vote. He also had, he stole Kamala Harris's data. So I'm sure that helped him at least, you know, get up there a little bit. Then you have Pete Buttigieg, who got 3% of the black vote. Not good, Pete. He tried. He did try, but he didn't make any inroads to black voters. Not in South Carolina, jail. Elizabeth Warren got 5% of the black vote. Oh, my God. Elizabeth Warren had John Legend down there. He wasn't singing, though. Maybe he should have given a concert. Like how Tom Steyer had Juvenile. You know, shout out to black people, Chad. They went and backed that thing up with Tom Steyer. They probably got a little praise dancing with Yolanda Adams, child, and still didn't vote for Tom Steyer's ass. But Elizabeth Warren had John Legend down there talking to people, child. They weren't impressed. 5% for the blacks, 9% for the whites. You know, Elizabeth Warren, as I mentioned, Friday, she had the fewest visits to South Carolina of the top tier. 20 visits. That's it. She parachuted in every black blue check jail. I won't say every, but I say a lot of them. They was at the barbershops. They were all around. And let me be clear. I like some Elizabeth Warren blue checks. I do. I don't have a problem with all of them. I have a problem with specific ones. I have a problem with people who erase Kamala Harris. I have a problem with people who talk shit about Kamala Harris. I have a problem with those people. I have a problem with people who gaslight people. But there are some black blue checks for Warren that I do like. I don't have any problem with you as long as you don't have a problem with me. And I don't think people want a problem with me. But it didn't do enough. She wasn't there to do the work. She doesn't have the receipts. Regardless of what people like to claim. The proof is in the pudding, child, and she ain't got the proof. She got the plans, she got the PDFs, but she don't have the proof. And so, black people, they weren't buying it. So that is what it is with that. But I'll have a little bit more on that, too. I'm just getting started, y'all. And Amy Klobuchar got 1%. How did she even get 1? But she got 1. Okay, so that's the racial breakdown. Now, let me move on and let me talk about the groups that these candidates won. By the way, this data is on WashingtonPost.com. Bernie Sanders, I'll start with him, Chad, because he didn't win a whole lot of groups, but I'm going to start with him. Ages 17 to 29, he won that group by 17 points. Never attend a religious service. He won that group by 12 points. Those are the only 2 groups that he won. Now, people will probably try to parse that out, Chad, by race and demographic. And then perhaps when you do all that level of parsing, then Bernie Sanders might fare well. Let me see how many groups. I don't have time to list it all, Chad, because there's too many of them here. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Look, I might have missed a couple, but let's say 26, 27 groups, categories, little breakouts that Joe Biden won by 6 or more percentage points. Okay, I should make that distinction. Bernie Sanders won 2 groups by 6 or more percentage points. Joe Biden won 27. Give or take a few. That's pretty significant. I think it's significant. Maybe some people don't, because they're going to say, well, what was the black and white breakdown of each individual category? But I will remind you that Joe Biden won white voters as well as black voters. I will remind you of that since you care so much. Okay. I think I'm done with the exit polls. I've gone over the overall results and I've gone over the exit polls. Now it's time for my commentary. You didn't think I was done with my commentary, right? So let me talk about Joe Biden. Okay, Joe Biden. Like I said, he had a great night. He had an amazing night, spectacular night. I see a lot of people that are like, I'm with Joe now. From reports, his donors are getting off the sidelines. They may have supported other candidates and now they're saying, I'm going with Joe. That's great news for Joe, because Joe has struggled with fundraising this entire time. I pointed that out. He's run a lean operation, probably because he doesn't have the fundraising. I've heard pretty bad things about his organization. Jim Clyburn actually today talked about how he didn't want to speak on it, but now that he's won, or now that he's involved, he's all in, there are going to be some significant changes. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like Representative Jim Clyburn is on the job, okay? The cavalry is coming, not just in the media chair, but in the actual organization that Joe Biden needs. So that's great news for Joe Biden. No shade. I have no shade for Joe tonight, y'all. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders. Is this... You know what, Bernie? You thought that you was having a friend in Jesus chair with black voters because, you know, and maybe you were going to have a moment in South Carolina. But that ain't really pan out that way. Now, did it? 19.9%, not good. You're down from even your margin in doggone in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. You guys can correct me on that. I try to be accurate in what I say. But from what people have bandied about, it seems like he's down from 2016. Bernie Sanders, though, you know, he's going to be dismissive of it. His supporters, I've already pointed out, Bill de Blasio, I've already talked about his Reddit people, child. I've heard other people are talking shit. I'm blocked by some of them, like the Sean Kings and things like that. That's fine. I don't want to see your funky ass page anyway. And so there's a lot of spin. It's going to get more racial. It's going to get more offensive as the time comes, which is really, really, really stupid, because there's still black voters left to vote. And they don't like that shit, like I said on Friday. So that is what it is. But I don't have too much on Bernie Sanders. I will say, though, that his supporters are saying drop out Warren. Now, that's been trending tonight. Hashtag drop out Warren. Bernie Sanders has kind of been encroaching on Warren's territory, or at least her perceived territory, which is Massachusetts. He's been doing some events there. That's ruffled her feathers. Apparently her feathers are easily ruffled, though. I'll get to that. So that's all I really have on Bernie for now. This probably doesn't necessarily shift what Bernie will get in terms of votes on Super Tuesday. But what it definitely does is it probably makes other people take a second look at Biden, who may have been supporting Amy Klobuchar or Pete Buttigieg. Let's talk about Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer dropped out, so that's the end of the discussion on it. Then we have, again, in fourth place, Pete Buttigieg. Now, I saw a tweet from a person. They were a blue check. And now you can't always trust what blue checks have to say, Chad. But this person, I think he's a pretty credible person. And he said that on CNN, they're reporting that Pete Buttigieg is reviewing his options going forward. I looked for that. I tried to see, is there some sort of live blog or anything like that? I couldn't find it. I could not find independent verification. So he could be incorrect. But if what he said is correct, and then I look at him fundraising tonight, now you would think, well, if somebody is fundraising, then they don't plan to drop out. Wrong. If you look at January's numbers for Pete Buttigieg, he had a very, very high burn rate. And he has been struggling to fundraise this month. And so my guess is that maybe Pete, he says he's trying to raise $13 million by Super Tuesday. He still hasn't done that. So, and he's not going to get a surge tonight, yeah. I can't imagine who will be like, yeah, let's make sure Pete gets $13 million after he just lost again. Or not lost again. I say after he just lost tonight. Let me put it nicely. So I think, this is my theory. I think that what's happened is Pete Buttigieg has burned through a lot of money again this month, and he's trying to just get whole. He probably understands that he doesn't appear to have much of a path at this point, but he wants to retire his campaign debt and bow out. So he's telegraphing, oh, we had a great rally or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I saw his, I went through his page and I'm like, okay, he's saying he's going to stay in. He's fundraising. You got to say you're going to stay in if you want to fundraise, yeah, because you can't say I'm going to drop out, still give me money. Nobody's going to do that. That would be stupid. So I think he's trying to raise the money to drop out without any campaign debt. That's my theory. I could be wrong. It would certainly be favored. It will be looked upon very favorably if he were to drop out before Super Tuesday. The problem is, though, that why some people are probably incentivized to stay in is that there already been a lot of votes cast. There's a lot of early voting going on. There's early voting in Texas. There's early voting in California and in Florida. Now, P's numbers don't look particularly well or good in those places either. Like he's going to be viable. So I don't know. But I wouldn't be too surprised if he, like I said, raise money to drop out. Then we have Elizabeth Warren. Now, I've talked a little bit about Elizabeth Warren and her performance and how dismal it was again. So this would be, let me see. Okay. So she placed 3rd in Iowa. Then was she 4th or 5th? I think she was 5th in New Hampshire. No delegates. Then in Nevada, what was she? Was she 5th in Nevada? No delegates. Today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. No delegates. Elizabeth Warren, girl, what is you doing? I think the problem with Elizabeth Warren is she has a lot of, people that are really for her on Twitter. She has a lot of the influencers, child. Lots and lots of influencers. Lots and lots of blue chicks. Even lots of celebrities that are big fans. But then real life smacks you in the face. And you can do all the courting of all the blue chicks, child. You can do all the courting of all the celebrities, child. But maybe you should have been making some alliances with some congressional people. With some senators. With some local elected officials. Does she really have any prominent South Carolina endorsements? I don't recall anybody. Certainly not any black people that are big. Not like a Jim Clyburn. So I think she put her energy into Twitter presence, into shaping a narrative. Well, the problem with the narrative is you can have a narrative all day long, child, but if it's not the reality, then what good does it do? Maybe focus a little bit less on Twitter, including my account, what I'm tweeting, and focus a little bit more on your actual campaign and reaching out to black people that don't have a blue check. Because those people vote. Lots of them. Apparently, lots of them. So that's, I don't know, maybe, do I want to go on hers a little bit more? Oh, I do. I just recalled something. And so, anyway, interestingly enough, she's very feisty tonight, child. No grace whatsoever. She's fighting on. She's marching on. She has that super PAC. She disowned PACs, and then she decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be pro PAC now. And so she has a super PAC that's dumping money into Super Tuesday. I guess people just like to set their money on fire, child. So she's doing well. My hands ashy. Y'all gonna talk about my hands ashy shit. I'm washing my hands motherfucking 20, 50 times a day with coronavirus. I ain't taking chances. So if my hands are ashy, it's okay. Anyways, so she has this super PAC and they're dumping all this money. And she's gonna fight on, she's gonna persist. And I saw her remarks tonight and she was very, very, very down on everybody again, child. Scorched earth. She's in it to win it. No, not really. But I will say this. Since people do pay attention to what I say on here, I wonder if the Warren campaign caught my video, what would Liz do? Because I had some helpful advice. I wasn't even shady in that video. I said I wasn't even going to be shady, and I wasn't. And I said something. Let me just roll the clip. Let me just slice that clip up in there. 1 second. She might really be like, look, balls to the walls. As long as I got some money, bitches, I'm in this joint. That's going to be a very humiliating outcome for her. So I said, you don't want to be humiliated, right? I was wrong about that. I feel like I'm normally pretty spot on, but I thought that she was going to be more pragmatic. She would have a little bit more dignity. Apparently, I was wrong. So, she fights on. Tonight, though, interestingly enough, she decided that she was going to finally go after her Bernie Sanders shit. Maybe that's why they started hashtagging Dropout Warren. She was talking about if you want somebody that's going to get stuff done, instead of somebody who hasn't been able to accomplish anything, for or against, because she also pointed out that he hasn't been able to accomplish stopping anything that he didn't support. He hasn't been able to accomplish anything that he does support. That was a read, share. I will give you that, Warren. I'll say something nice. Warren, you definitely read motherfucking Bernie Sanders' ass for Phil. It's about time. It's too little too late. You should have had that energy a while back, child. But maybe you're not going for Bernie Sanders VP. Maybe you're going balls to the walls. So, that's interesting. She's on track to potentially even lose her home state. Because Bernie Sanders was going there and doing visits. He had some good polling there. So, Warren is flailing right now. She's flailing. She's worried about the wrong shit. She's searching for a message she had to try to take from somebody where she could take from it. And it's not working. It's not working. You can shoot the messenger, chat. Like I said before, I shoot back. So that's that on that. Amy Klobuchar is also feisty. She talking about, let me go to her Twitter. I'll quote it. We've exceeded expectations time and time again. Girl, exceeded expectations. The expectations were low. You didn't have a high bar to exceed expectations. And you're doing terribly. Exceeding expectations, child. You in 6th place. You have 0 delegates again. I'm confused. Now, maybe Amy just make her feel better to win Minnesota. And she might do that. There are some polling that indicate that she will win Minnesota. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to do. Like, that's not going to get you the presidency or the nomination. But maybe she just really, really, really wants that win. And so she says that she's marching forward. I don't get it, Chad. I don't get it at all. But she's exceeding expectations. Well, whoever's expectations they are, she's exceeding them. So, good for her, I guess. And that, I think I'm going to pretty much end my video there. I think I've said enough. Have I said enough? I think I have. If I've ruffled your feathers, fuck you very much. I don't care about your feelings. And be mad at your candidate, child. Don't be mad at me. I'm not the one out here flopping and flailing. That's your candidates. Except for Joe tonight. He did well.